Hi Jenna, welcome to your reading. This is your 3 month forecast reading for the next 3 months starting from March, April and into May 2023. So what I do for this reading is I start with the astrology part of it. So I will talk you through what sort of things to expect. I tend to not use astrological jargon because everybody, obviously all my different clients all have different levels of understanding of astrology. So I just try to explain it in very practical terms so you can understand like what area of life is being influenced and how to handle the energies and so forth. So once I've gone through explaining all the astrological stuff or the influences for the next 3 months, then I look at the cards for you. So I do one tarot card per month for each of the months to see what else or what other information might want to come up. Okay, so let's get straight into it. So March. Okay, so there's quite a few things for March. As you can see, I've written down a lot of notes here. It goes over a couple of pages. So March looks fairly busy. A lot of different things going on. Now, there is something that I want to mention, or there's two things that I want to mention that are an influence in March, but they are actually a long-term influence. So you'll feel them kind of as a background influence for the whole year, okay, of 2023. Let me just check one thing. Yep, so the first thing is I do see there's some kind of power struggle energy around either home or family. It could be a parent, it could be your home life, it could be the influence of people in the family or someone in particular in the family who is somehow, it could be making you feel like there's a power struggle or there's a heavy influence or someone, or even jealousy, you know, like someone could be jealous or trying to control you in some way. Sometimes these things are a bit on the subtle side. It's not like maybe necessarily full on in your face, but it is something that now and then it may come up and you're aware of it and it frustrates you or causes you to feel a bit blocked or a bit like someone's trying to control you in your life and the way you live your life. So because I'm seeing the way it's manifesting here is like someone in the family or in your home life, you know, related to you possibly, or as I said, someone you live with or someone in the family is pulling on your energy in a way on a psychological level and an emotional level where it's affecting how you feel out in the world or how you feel in your self-esteem when you're out and doing the things that you're doing, or when it comes to your personal goals and ambitions as well. Okay, so this is something that is on and off this year of 2023. It's just something to be aware of, to not let other people, you know, fully dominate and control you. You know, sometimes we can't help these things. They're just karmic lessons that we're learning on a soul level. You know, there's that as well sometimes. So it's a bit of a challenging one, but just being aware of it can definitely help. Not letting someone, you know, control what you want out of your own life, basically. And it, you know, sometimes it can be just responsibilities in the home. That's another way it can manifest, like, because it is involving Pluto and Capricorn in your home sector. So, you know, it could be that you have certain responsibilities or there are certain expectations on you from family or your home life that are preventing you from feeling like you can give in the way that you want to your outer life, your work, your career, your direction, your personal goals. It could be something like that as well. Moving on from that, another thing that you have for the whole year, which is really, really interesting, is I see this letting go process, and it's on a very deep spiritual level. It's also on the level of your mind and your thinking and your inner processes. So there's almost like this need to purify your life of energies that are like old bad habits or old addictions, toxic energy. When I say addictions, you know, it doesn't have to be anything really extreme. It could even be like just any habits that are holding you back or anything with your health that's just not where you want it to be. I see you this year letting go of this old energy basically in some way, and this could be also clearing out spiritually some old energies from the past. It would be a good year to declutter things in your home that are just like superfluous things or things that you don't need. There could be issues coming up from your past that you need to heal. I'm just going to close the window because I just realized it's the time of day. It's the end of school and all the kids are going to be coming out and starting to get noisy. So yeah, there's a lot of clearing from the past for you coming up, and it can be where, I'm just going to put my fan on because it's also very hot in Sydney, sorry. And the fan's not very loud. It shouldn't affect the like the sound, but I always recommend put earphones on anyway, just in case. Yeah, so what I'm saying is there's this releasing energy. So anything that you need to let go of that's not supportive to your future or who you want to be, you know, it's a good idea. But it even can come down to material items like old clothes, shoes, books, things that you just have been holding on to that you really don't need to hold on to. If you let go of those things, you're going to find like a new energy comes into your life. And that's something that I can see, this letting go energy is around you all year. So you can utilize working on this spiritually anytime during this year. Just to drink some water. I get very thirsty when I'm talking all day doing readings. Okay. Now, those two things I did mention though for the whole year, that's because, you know, they're very important, and one of them kind of starts around March. So just wanted you to know about those things. Anyway, so specifically for March, 1st to the 7th of March, you do have a positive influence in your relationship and friendship sector. So there should be like positive social connections, you know, being viewed in a positive light by people around you, where people might want to help you out with something, or a lot of supportive energy with friends or connections. If you work with the public in any way, like with customers, with clients, with the public in any capacity, you know, with a business or with work, this is very favorable from the 1st to the 7th of March. So that can be a bit of a lucky period. It's not like super highlighted where it's like, wow, all this amazing stuff, but it's definitely like, oh, this is nice, and this is flowing, and this is a bit more easy. So it's that kind of thing. It's a bit more light, but it is an energy where if you want to manifest something and you put the efforts in, it can manifest now from the 1st to the 7th. It is a good time for your relationships as well, so be aware of that as well. It's a nice harmonious time. You may feel a bit more like a little bit lazy, like you don't want to do a lot of work at this time. For the first week of March, you may feel more inclined to just kind of want to take it easy because of this energy. And the other thing is, on the 5th of March, you do have some kind of shift of energy around your work and health sector. So the work and health sector are the same area of the chart. So it looks like it could be sort of something coming to your attention where you need to kind of deal with something that's coming up that's work related, possibly or health related. But I don't see it as being, it doesn't have to be negative. I feel like there's an opportunity through this. You know, it's not like, I'm not seeing it as a negative, but some people may perceive this influence as like a bit of a stressful shift. But then again, it's like it's pushing you towards your destiny in some way. So whatever's happening around the 5th of March, it's actually leading to better things for you ultimately with work and health. Okay. So it could be a bit of a new beginning energy there. The other thing I see is March, April and May, these next 3 months, peaking in May, there is a bit of confusion around your work and your career goals. So you might already be feeling this already, Jenna. It's like you are trying to work out, you know, what you want to do or what direction you might want to go in, but it feels unclear. The only advice I could give you for this type of influence is to go with your intuition and to allow for things to just kind of go with the flow for these next few months, because you may not have as much clarity as you're hoping with regards to direction. You just kind of have to go with what kind of comes up in the moment. And, you know, your intuition and your feelings about things may be changing in these next 3 months. It's not like there's one clear, solid path. So sometimes we have these influences and we just got to go with the energy around us and kind of just take things a day at a time, listen to the intuition, listen to our intuition. And, you know, you are someone who has quite good intuition. I do feel sometimes you do get stuck in your head of overthinking and overanalyzing and kind of getting stuck in two minds about things, or uncertainty of, you know, what direction to take sometimes when it comes to career and work things. But yeah, March, April, May, and particularly in May is the strongest energy. The next 3 months, it's a little bit foggy in regards to, you know, purpose, direction, career, work, job situation. So it could feel a little bit on the draining side at times, or a bit like this uncertainty, or you can't quite see where you're headed. But just there's a need for acceptance with this, and just to not resist against what you're feeling, because when we put up resistance, it just makes it harder. So, you know, your work situation may be unclear for some reason. Doesn't mean good things can't happen. It just means you may be feeling that energy emotionally as well. That said, you've got another influence in March starting where you are feeling more, you're starting to feel a bit more ambitious, and there is something, I'm just going to jump ahead into the month of May that's related to this, where there's a bit more focus for you in May. Even though you still got this confusing energy, there may actually be some good things happening in your career goals and personal direction. So these things I'm seeing as more of a creative energy or ideas coming to you. And they may not fully manifest in these next 3 months, but it's like they're starting to percolate through your intuition. Anything creative is really well favored. So anything to do with professional success, creativity, working on anything creative projects can actually be really good for you, especially in March and also May, but just for the next 3 months it's quite strong. So when I said there's confusion, that's about like having solid ideas about goals, but doesn't mean that there's not creative stuff percolating within you. So it's a bit of a balance to kind of understand, I guess, how it's going to be working for you. If you want logical clarity, I would say that's probably not going to be happening, but if you want to tap into creativity, absolutely, it's there for you. So listen to your ideas and your intuition for sure. 13th to 15th of March, really nice energy there where someone may be really supportive towards you, or you connect with someone in a relationship. If you're in a relationship, it's very nice energy. If you've got someone close to you like a best friend or a partner or just anyone in your life, could be even a female connection, you can feel very loved and supported or very seen by this person, and they might come through with something potentially for you that is helpful to you, or they may be very generous or kind towards you. I just really like that energy from the 13th to the 15th of March. So that's really nice for your relationships. The 26th of March to the 4th of April, there is supportive energy around whatever you're doing creatively in your life. So whether that's actual creative projects or whether this is to do with, for some reason, like children in your life and your personal goals, there is a supportive energy happening here, okay? And it happens again for you in September. So I know I'm jumping ahead out of the 3-month forecast, but I just wanted to mention it while I'm here. So this is really nice for you because it does show that, for example, if you want to have kids, or if you have kids, anything around, you know, children is well supported at this time, specifically 26th of March to 4th of April. So that's a very stable time and a time of growth, where you can actually make progress with things that you want to regarding creativity or children. So, you know, say you're doing something creative, it has a benefit to your career, okay? Say there's something going on with one of your children. Say if you have a child, I don't know if you do, but if you have a child, I don't know everything, but, you know, I am a psychic medium and astrologer, but when I'm doing the astrology, I tend to be very analytical with it. And then when I go to the cards, I kind of pick up more the psychic stuff. Say if you have children, one of your kids could do really well at school. This is an example in that time. Or they could start something outside of school that they really feel very strongly and passionate about. Another example is a creative project could come to fruition, and you could really see that there's potential for your future with this. Those are the 3 ways it can manifest. Around the same time, you do have to be a bit cautious with overdoing things or being over enthusiastic or taking on more than you can handle. So for example, if you know you've got to take on something extra, make sure that if you can delegate some things to someone else, you are doing that. Don't try to take it all on yourself. And watch out with anything to do with overindulgence or overspending or overdoing, just in general, like anything where you're overcommitting yourself. You need to watch out for that, because you can end up feeling like you've taken on too much and it can exhaust you. 30th to 31st of March, very active energy around the outer world. So like your career, your job could be very busy, your life can be very busy for those couple of days, 30th to 31st. There could be some developments in your career or your personal goals then as well. Or it can be also a busy time to do with a parent potentially as well, or parenting. The 30th, 30th of March to the 2nd of April, you do have something here which is a bit difficult in regards to dealing with like the public. If you're married, it could be your married life, it could be a parent, dealing with someone in authority. Watch out from the 30th of March to the 2nd of April of anything where you can sense that you need to be a bit more cautious. It's not a time to tread on anyone's toes. Not saying you would, but just this energy is like, just be cautious with this energy. If someone is confronting towards you, just be more on the cautious side. Just caution warranted, just with your dealings with the public, dealing with people in any way. Especially anyone that's emotional, or a family member that's emotional, from the 30th to the 2nd of April. This could be something to do with a family member or a parent, potentially, like one of your parents, or, you know, I'm just trying to see what else. It could be if you're in a marriage, like the male person, for example, or the partner. Just could be a bit of a flare up from the 30th of March to the 2nd of April. So again, it's in your public life, so dealing with the public in some way, dealing with public issues, so things that are known by others, things that are known in the family, things that are known in your career. Watch out with men around that time. So again, it's only a couple of days, so it's not anything to stress out about. It's just being aware helps, you know, to not, yeah, just to be more, when you're dealing with someone, be very compassionate. I would say that will be more helpful. Let's go to April. So I just need to check how I'm going for time. Okay, 15 minutes. Right. So the 3rd of April, really positive energy starts for the whole month. So 3rd of April till 3rd of May, very creative energy around you, ideas to do with your future. You're feeling more optimistic by the looks of things just overall in the background. It's a subtle influence, but it is there, and it can help you to implement ideas that you have that are creative to do with business, career, personal goals, aspirations. And yeah, it's ideas related, it's learning related. There could be new things that you're learning for business or for career that really help you as you implement them, and you've got that for the whole month. 17th of, oh hang on, I'm not up to that one yet. 3rd to the 15th of April, there's a healing energy around romantic connections and also married life or career or even children, anything to do with your dealings with how you express yourself to others. There's some kind of healing around that, so that would be a good time to heal any emotional issues involving another person or involving your personal goals in some way. 3rd to the 15th of April, that's active, so it's an opportunity for you to heal something there. Also all month you do have a transit that can make you feel a bit more sensitive on the level of your mind, your daily routine, your communications with others, and your work situation. So you might again feel a little bit confused about what you want out of your daily life and working situation. From the 12th to the 13th of April, you have a really helpful transit, which is a bit lucky for you. So you could feel very enthusiastic about learning something new. You could be teaching someone something or learning something yourself, or just a lucky time in terms of bumping into social connections, hearing from friends, or you know, maybe a friend texts you that you've been meaning to contact and you haven't heard from them, and it's like a nice conversation. The 11th to the 15th of April, you have a strong, empowering, focused and ambitious energy. This is a good time from the 11th to the 15th of April to get a lot done, especially around career and finances. You may feel quite ambitious then if you're trying to look for a new job or something, or if you're trying to progress. I know it's only a few days, but those few days, 11th to 15th, you should feel better energy for focus and getting things done. From the 13th of April, you do have a shift in the way your outlook, and that lasts till May 10th, which is more positive. So you come out of a bit of a heavier energy from April 13th onwards, where you feel a bit more enthusiastic about things, a bit more hopeful, a bit more optimistic, and you feel like you can kind of open yourself up to learning new things and kind of dive into exciting things. It's a bit more lucky as well. So 13th of April from May 10th looks a bit more positive than maybe how you were feeling before that. From the 16th to the 25th of April, you do have an energy around a friend or a connection which could be frustrating or could demand a lot of your attention. Could be a friend going through something and they, you know, are talking to you about their frustrations, or there's someone that needs your help or support, but it's taking a lot of energy from you. Or, you know, you're working on a group project that's taking a lot of energy, or something involving a group in some way, whether it's a group of friends or a work group potentially. Then the 29th of April to the 4th of May, you have a very rare transit that happens only once every 12 years or so. This is a good one though. It's to do with your relationship area, and it's like really big emotions about something. So you could find something out that brings you a lot of intense emotion. Sometimes this transit is involved with, like, it's quite often that women get pregnant around this time. So if you're wanting to get pregnant, honestly, the next few months, the energy is there for it. If you're not wanting to get pregnant, just be careful leading up to the 29th of April through to the 4th of May, and also surrounding time period. So let's just say March to June, because there's very strong fertility energy for you, and also in your relationships, okay? So relationships are very fertile, coming into a new phase, and you are potentially fertile at this time. So if you're not wanting to accidentally get pregnant, you know, if you're obviously having intimacy at this time, then just be extra cautious, because it can be accidental pregnancy with this type of transit. If it's not that, it can be like a renewal in a relationship, happy times in a relationship, things coming up to be really discussed in a relationship, that where you can just clear the air afterwards and feel like, oh, I'm so glad we talked about that, and sort of like this, you know, breathing, this kind of like this sense of like having, what's the saying, like it's like a breath of fresh air in your life, in your relationships. But sometimes it can be a lot of emotion coming up too, but ultimately it's positive. There's a lot of growth for you at this time in your relationship area anyway. So that's a significant thing. It could be, you know, you're feeling a bit more emotional than usual as well, but ultimately there's a lot of protection around you at that time as well. Let's go to May. So most of May, there is a focus on two distinct areas: your goal setting, your career, your ambitions, your aspirations, where you're headed in your life, what you want to achieve, you know, all these type of things. That's what you're focusing on. There's also a deep energy with you of like your desires, your finances, like what you're doing with your money, you know, how you're investing your money, how you're spending your money. Things could be coming up, you know, to your attention about taxes or about paperwork that you need to do related to money, or banking stuff, or loans. You know, all this stuff can be in focus around money and how you're using your money in the outer world. That can be a focus for you in May. There is also this energy of like emotionally, you're feeling like you're tapping into a sense of harmony around what you feel in yourself emotionally, in your heart and your personal truth, with how you're living your life. So it doesn't mean that everything's perfect, but it just means that you're starting to feel in May a bit more aligned with what you're doing. So maybe a bit less disjointed in some way that you may have felt in March. The 3rd to the 9th, you have a really lucky transit then. It's a subtle one, but it's helpful, and you know, it can be involved in things to do with luck around friendships, connections, learning new things, flowing synchronistic events happening where you just think of someone and you see them or bump into them and you're like, oh, I really want to just talk to you. Or someone calls you, you know, that you really want to talk to, or you're getting signs and messages from the universe. Can be sometimes a bit lucky with something just happening suddenly, like possibly financial, but I don't want to say, oh, you know, buy a lotto ticket, because, you know, I don't usually go there because it's just a bit, you know, but it is a bit lucky energy from the 3rd to the 9th of May, but it's not a huge big deal. It's more like a subtle luck, okay? So, you know, you could buy a scratcher ticket and win $10 or something, potentially, but again, I don't advocate for gambling, but yeah, anyway, I'm just saying that's the type of energy I'm seeing. You could talk to someone who is overseas or from a long distance who boosts your morale in some way. You could talk to a friend who gives you some inspiration. That's another way it can play out from the 3rd to the 9th of May. Then from the 10th, you have lovely energy around your career or your work. Dealing with a female in particular could be helpful if you have a meeting with a female, say, for example. It could go really well on the 10th of May. Or a female co-worker is really supportive towards you and helps you out where you really need it and you really appreciate it. Or there's a female in your life in some other capacity that gives you a lot of love that you just need, like, or a gift or some support or something like that, you know. 10th to the 31st of May, a bit of a peak period where there's a shift of energy in the area to do with children. It's like a culmination. Children, that area is also children's self-expression, creativity, entrepreneurship, and also romantic life as well comes under that sector of the chart. So a culmination in one of those areas. You might feel some intensity in one of those areas I mentioned. I mentioned all the areas of each house because it's like, well, you know, it depends. If you have children, it could be something of a progress around a child and something, you know, like they're finishing one thing and starting something new that's really significant. Or if it's in your romantic life, you could be letting go of something that was difficult to go into a new phase. Or if it's in business, it could be a similar type of thing. But this is lasting from the 10th to the 31st of May. It's not something necessarily that you can be like, aha, I see that happening on this date. Like, it's more of a background vibe or feeling, okay? 31st of May, this is a good energy. You have some breakthrough in a communication around the 31st of May that can benefit your career, your goals, or your direction forward. And it's something very practical that can help you. It could be like someone communicates something to you and it gives you the momentum, support, or impetus to move forward with something. So look out for that one around the 31st of May. Could be just like something that someone says and you're like, oh, that's a great idea, I'm going to do that. You know, it could be something as simple as that. It's not necessarily something really on a practical level. I feel like it's more, it starts as an idea or a communication, and then you're thinking of applying it in your personal goals and career. Just checking the time. Okay, and the very end of May through to the month of June. So we have basically for a month. I am mentioning this because it's important, even though it goes into June. Progressed moon. Yep. So there's something very lucky happening from the very end of May into June, for the whole month of June, where there's some kind of development in your life that basically is giving you an opportunity in the career area or through a contact. Could be both. So someone you know could be like, oh, I would love to get you to do this and this, and you're like, great, I want that opportunity. So there's something around this time period, end of May, through all of June, that you can really benefit from, career-wise, goal-wise, achievement-wise, professional-wise, but it's connected potentially to a friend or a contact. Okay, so those were the astrological transits. You may need to listen to it a few times to really absorb all the messages, or come back to it like at the end of the month, each month. So let's look at March for you, for 2023 for Jenna. What's coming up for March? We have a jumping card. So we have children. Focus on children. Now, if you don't have children, or if you're not, wanting to fall pregnant, it could be that, right? If that's where you're at. If you're not there, this could be something to do with, memories, childhood, inner child healing, all of the above. It could also be something to do with the past, but I need to get a clarity card because I want to see what else this is about for you, Jenna. Okay, so there might have been something difficult to do with wanting children or a child in your life, or your childhood. So I said healing inner child wounds. It could come up. All of these things could be factors, to be honest. Like sometimes, if there's a focus on wanting to have a child, sometimes we're reflecting on the past as we're in that process. So it could be that. Let me just see what I'm picking up on. I do feel healing something. Okay, that's what I'm getting. Healing something that is related to a very emotional thing for you. It could be to do with fertility, or it could be to do with children, that type of thing. But I do feel there's a healing around this. I do want to get an extra card. I never do this many cards. Yeah, interesting. Okay, so this is a young person's energy. This shows moving forward out of some kind of difficulty. Okay, so it might be a slow process of moving forward out of some kind of difficulty related to something that is emotional for you, to do with nurturing, to do with children, to do with desire that you have for your life, or connected to family as well, and or children, I'll say. Okay, so interesting. Let's go to April for you. What's coming up in the month of April, Jenna? April, Jenna, what's coming up in April? This one, the Hangman. Okay, so this can relate to some of the transits you have, where you might feel like things are a little bit slow in one way in your life. Like it could be to do with work, or it could be, like that feeling of like just not sure how everything's going to pan out. And I did talk to you about feeling that way a little bit over the next 3 months anyway, because of a particular transit you have with Neptune. This is actually Neptune, so you do have a strong transit with this energy. And what it tells you is just like you're kind of biding your time. You're kind of in flux. You're in a zone where you have to kind of wait a little bit for things to get more concrete for you. So it is more of a spiritual time for you, and it can also be a time of letting go and trusting more and focusing more on having faith in your spiritual path. This is what this card is really about. So you can feel on the ego level that you're stuck, but it's like, or you have to wait for something. It can be that I have to wait for for time to go by before I can experience the fulfillment that I want. Or if, for example, there's a pregnancy, well, you have to wait obviously for the child to be born. Or it can be symbolic. Pregnancy energy can symbolize also waiting for something to come to fruition in your life. So I might just get one more card with that. Let's see. Hard work. Yeah, this could be to do with your work as well, where you kind of feel like you're just going through the motions, but you feel a bit drained and exhausted from work and from the day-to-day. So it's almost like just hang in there, literally with a hangman, like hang in there in the month of April, because you could need to just take things one day at a time and just get rest when you need it, not push yourself with things too much is what I'm getting. You may feel very tired. Those energies can be very exhausting, And it can be like you're just craving freedom, you know, or you're craving a change. Let's look at the month of May and see what comes up then. Oh, these two jumped out. Oh, look at that. How beautiful. So we have the child card come up again, which is so interesting because there are some themes around children. Or so it just cut out while I was reading because we've run out of time. My camera only films for 30 minutes and I have to edit the videos together. So something around a child. It could be an air sign like Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, because it comes up air. But we have this joy energy and we have this working through things. Okay, so there's something of a positive development around something to do with children, creativity as well. This is creativity and progress. So I would say it could be multiple areas that they're talking about here. If you have a child, or you're wanting a child, there's something very positive around that, and a new beginning around this as well. Or if it can be that and or your creative life, something that you're wanting to get stuck into creatively that's going to be very fruitful. I feel like it could have both connotations as well. All right, so I'll leave it with you, Jenna. That was your reading. I hope that you enjoyed that. Remember to check back on the reading, you know, in the coming months to, you know, see what was accurate for you and what made sense. And I hope that you enjoyed that and have a fantastic week and have a fantastic 3 months. Bye.